CFL preseason is in full swing. The Spurs win some bling while shutting down the King. And there's a big thing going down next Saturday night in Windsor. Cambridge and Essex. Two great teams that are coming together next week. Should be awesome. It's going down in Windsor next week. OVFL Live starts now. Enjoy.
Hi, everybody.
You're listening to OVFL Live, your radio home for OVFL scores, stories, and interviews with Marshall Ferguson. Welcome inside OVFL Live, everyone. I'm your host, Marshall Ferguson, joined once again, by Tom Sterling. Tom, how are you?
Good, Marsh. Good to be back on the show. How are you doing?
I'm glad to have you back, buddy. I'm well. I have an awesome little sunburn from the weekend. It was my birthday over the weekend, so I went to Port Dover. I explored the great province of Ontario and headed to Lake Erie, and turns out the sun still has a little bit of power behind it.
Well, when you have a skin tone like yours, it's always got a little power.
It's true. And for those watching on the actual podcast that we're doing, the arms are pristine. The back, whole other game. It's not a pretty picture back there. This is episode 4. It is June 16th, 2014. Episode 4 is brought to you by Dads. Not the cookies.
Oh, God.
I know. But if the cookies want to sponsor this,
I will eat so many cookies in order for that sponsorship to happen.
If we got a sponsor that was a food consortium, would we get the food or would we just get the money?
I'd be okay with either.
Dad's cookies are pretty damn good, though.
Yes, they are.
We would love to have Dad's as a sponsor, but in reality, yesterday was Father's Day, and shout out to all the dads out there, because there's a lot of dads that are spread throughout the OVFL, and they play a very large role. There's a lot of dads that coach, and the rest of you drive your kids to practice probably 2-3 times a week, send them to games, pay for them to play, and get the awesome experience that the OVFL offers.
Kudos to you, dads.
Good job, dads. Real shout out to the fathers out there. Plus, without them, we just wouldn't be here.
That's also very true.
That's science. Shout out. I thought about dedicating episode number 4 to Frosters. Because damn, I had one yesterday. They're just sugar and water, but goodness, do they do the job.
Something really, really well.
They are unreal. They're better than a lot of other things in life. And they're so cheap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they're sugar and water. I get it. They're not good for you. Relax, everyone. I had a medium. But
I had the extra large.
CFL season has begun. It's on time, despite a lot of the players not being very happy. But it is nice to see some CFL football back in action. And also, the Ticats and Alouettes played at McMaster. Did you get to see the game that was at Mac this weekend, Tom?
I got live updates.
Did you?
I couldn't see it, no.
It wasn't on TV because they wanted the Riders and the Red Blacks, with Ottawa making their CFL debut, which, by the way, they might have, just called the team the White Blacks.
Seriously.
Put some red in your jersey.
They reminded me, actually, of the Carleton team that we faced.
Yeah.
You remember their all-white jerseys?
Yeah.
Look the exact same.
See, teams like this monochromatic stuff now, and I understand, but if you're going to name your team the Red Blacks, put more than, the lining of the logo in red or something.
Absolutely.
I just feel like that's something that has to be done. I hope the Ottawa Redbacks players wear a ton of just red accessories, like red cleats, red, because they got to bring it in somehow, right?
Absolutely.
But it'd be nice to see, because they only have the white helmet and the black helmet. They don't have a red one.
Yeah.
Totally off topic. I just really think that they should have that.
Well, when your name is the Red Blacks,
yeah,
you gotta put something in.
It makes a lot of sense. But anyway, so the Ticats Montreal game was not on TSN. It was not streamed on tsn.ca. And there was, I forget who I saw the tweet from, escapes me right now, but they said, if you want the league to grow, it might have been Billy McPhee, actually, a Burlington boy, and I don't think he ever played in the OVFL, but plays at Queens right now, 4th year going into 5th year quarterback. He said, if you want the league to grow, how do you expect, and obviously it's preseason, so it's not a big deal, but how do you expect the league to grow if you're not going to show the games?
Seriously.
And especially because there's a ton of Canadian content right now that are former OVFL guys, former junior players, CIS players trying to make teams. And it's fun for guys like us to watch our friends try and make teams, and that's how the league grows in interest locally, right?
Absolutely. But it was pretty clear from the first, I got home in time to watch the, pre-game before the Ottawa-Saskatchewan game.
Yep.
And even in halftime, Jock Climie came out and said, I apologize. This has been the Ottawa pregame. They didn't say a single word about Saskatchewan. That entire pregame came out at halftime and said, I had no idea, I'm sorry, so let's talk about Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. What do you think of climbing on the desk?
It was weird.
It is weird, but to his credit, he's been thrown into a situation with Dave Randorf leaving TSN that I don't think he could ever prepare for.
No, absolutely. He did a great job. It's just weird to see him there and not one of the analysts.
And as a guy that enjoys doing color stuff and just kind of talking and spitballing and stuff, that would like to one day be a host on a show like that.
Yeah.
I pull for him, and I really hope that he turns into this amazing desk guy.
Oh, yeah.
Who can host everything perfectly, because then it's like, in the future, they look at guys like us and they go, oh yeah, he can host this. Judd Climby did it. He set the precedent. It's all good. Like I said, it did begin, a little side note I had here, CIS CFL preseason connection. Last year, there was a game at Laurier. The Argos Ticats game this Friday, I believe, will be played at Varsity Stadium at U of T in Toronto. I think that it should be, an absolute mandate from the CFL to play as many games as possible, regardless of revenue, at CIS schools that can accommodate CFL franchises. Do you agree?
I absolutely agree. It just puts more emphasis out on the CIS schools, more emphasis among Canadian fans. It's a better for everybody, really.
Absolutely. And I talked to a couple of players after the game, Ticats, Alouettes, and said, what did you think of playing in this tiny stadium compared to what you're used to? Because don't get me wrong, Ron Joyce Stadium at McMaster, unbelievable conditions, and across the CIS, it's getting better and better. There's all these stadiums that are popping up, 6,000, 8,000, they expand. Queens is gonna one day eventually put together a nice big stadium that they can seat as many people as they want down there because they have the land to be able to do it. But as of right now, these stadiums are definitely smaller than what they're used to. I asked the guys, what'd you think? Was it weird playing down there? And they said, no, this was awesome. I was 20 feet from the fans. They were screaming at me. The Brandon London that plays for Montreal said, this was the most fun I've had playing since high school.
Yeah.
Because I was down next to the fans and they were screaming at me and I absolutely loved it. Competitive guys love being close to competition, and they were definitely close to competition when they were down there, 20 feet from the Ticat faithful. So that was very exciting. Ocho Cinco also, he didn't play, but he did make the trip to Hamilton. I was following his Twitter very closely. For those of you that know Chad Ocho Cinco, former Bengals receiver, all-pro receiver, 5 years in a row in the NFL. He is a very avid Twitter user, has 1.2 million followers. He said, Hamilton has been entertaining to say the least. Found a Starbucks earlier, but they've closed. Standing in line at Tim Hortons in disbelief. And that was in Westdale, so I'm pretty sure he was at the one just up the street here. But anyways, second tweet from him, 30 minutes into Hamilton, and I like it this far. Interesting characters along streets. Place has a Pittsburgh mystique to it in a sense.
I'll take that.
And I couldn't put it better myself. When I first came here, I talked to Kyle Quinlan, now the varsity head coach of the Hamilton Ironmen, who was playing at McMaster when I was, and I said to him, what do you like about here? What do you enjoy? He said, man, this is just kind of a grinded out, the football team, the junior team's called the Ironmen. That's all you really need to know, right? Yeah. And it's just kind of that aura of hard work and nose to the grindstone. So
you don't get the title Hammertown without something like that.
And Ocho picked up on that in 15 minutes in Hamilton, which I found very interesting.
Very, very
and after he left, he went back to Sherbrooke, Quebec, and he said, Hamilton was a very enjoyable experience, as was my first CFL visual. These mofos can play some goddamn ball up here. Which I have to agree, because there was some awesome football played at this stadium on the weekend. I had some interview clips that I was going to play. We're already running behind because this is way too fun. So I'm just going to get right to the score recap, because I think that is what people come here to listen to a little bit. So we're going to get into the scores here and make sure that we have all of that covered, because there's a bunch of other stuff we want to get to while we are with you.
Me and Marsh just have way too much fun on this show.
You start talking and you just don't stop, and it ends up being just spitballing off the top.
TSN, we could totally do a 3-hour show.
I used to wonder how guys did 3-hour shows, but now I get it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the score recap. The Cumberland Panthers 22-11 over the Oshawa Hawkeyes in varsity action. 17-16 for the Cornwall Wildcats over the Kingston Grenadiers, a 1-point game there. Toronto Thunder 30-7 over Pickering. That game was at Birchmount Stadium. The Myers Riders 37-6. That dominant Myers varsity team continues to roll throughout the OVFL. Looking forward to some of their bigger matchups later in the year. Speaking of bigger matchups, I thought this one would be much more competitive. It was 49-7 for the Essex Ravens over the London Junior Mustangs, and London had played Niagara extremely tough in the week before.
Yeah, I did not see that one coming.
So and that game was at TD Waterhouse Stadium in London, Ontario as well. So interesting to see that result. Essex, again, pulls out the dominant run game. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Tease. Mississauga Warriors 35-20 over the Sioux Sabercats. 31-20 for the Brampton Bulldogs over the Etobicoke Eagles. 31-20 the final there. The York Simcoe Buccaneers 43-17 over the Markham Raiders, and the Halton Cowboys behind Daniel Bateman, a quarterback that I had a chance to work with, who's doing some great work for the Halton Cowboys now. They beat the Hamilton Ironmen 26-11 in Halton. The last game, probably the biggest one of the week in terms of marquee matchup, 24-16 for the Cambridge Lions over the Niagara Spears. Niagara got pushed by the London Junior Mustangs and squeaked out a field goal win in week 3. Then they come out and lose their first game of the year, I believe, because they beat Essex early in the year. And Cambridge is looking very, very good right now. Just consistent all the way through. All their scores through 4 weeks have been, they've been really showing what they can do.
Absolutely.
Junior JV 34-3 for the Cambridge Lions over the Niagara Spears. Not as close as the varsity game.
No, not as close.
But still a fantastic matchup, and I look forward to seeing that later on in the season. The Oshawa Hawkeyes were defeated by the Cumberland Panthers 49-6. It was another clean sweep over the weekend for Cumberland, by the way. They won also the Bantam game, JV, and varsity. The Toronto Thunder won 21-7 over the Pickering Dolphins. Ottawa Myers Riders' dominant JV team also defeated Metro Toronto Wildcats 51-14. 23-20, London Junior Mustangs Junior Varsity over the Essex Ravens. A great game there. 47-7, Mississauga Warriors over the Sioux Sabercats was the final. 35-0, Etobicoke got shut out in their junior varsity matchup with the Brampton Bulldogs. 28-8 for the York Simcoe Bucks over the Markham Raiders. And the Hamilton Ironmen junior varsity team went to work on the weekend after losing to Brampton in week 3, a game that I know they were excited for to have a marquee matchup. Brampton is powerful, but Ken McGuire's staff is doing an excellent job with the junior varsity team here in Hamilton. We are a little bit biased, like I said. I'm here. I see them at practice. I see them at a couple of games. They're doing some great work, and they have some fantastic players on that roster as well. They defeated Halton 49-0 there. Into the Bantam scores we go. Cumberland, you're mean, 67-0 over the Oshawa Hawkeyes.
Wow.
Again, that reminds me of that 68-8 game or 76-8 game I had against Cumberland when I played. Every time I see a Cumberland score, it just brings back flashbacks. lean back and close the eyes and make sure it's not a nightmare. 38-28 for the Toronto Thunder in Bantam action over the Pickering Dolphins. And Metro Toronto Wildcats defeated Myers Riders. I don't think I've seen that many Myers losses this year, and that was 28-19 for Metro Toronto over Myers.
Wow.
42-7, Essex Ravens over the London Junior Mustangs. York Simcoe Bucks were shut out by the Markham Raiders, 40-0. Markham doesn't have a fantastic team in JV or varsity this year, but their Bantam team is really putting in work, and they've been dominating a couple of games. I've noticed the scores. I can't follow every single team as intensely as I'd like to, but seeing some of the scores, some things just kind of pop out to you through the weeks. And Markham's Bantam team, hats off to you. Hamilton's Bantam team as well, 47-12 over the Halton Cowboys. Brampton, you're mean too, 63-0 over the Mississauga Warriors. Brampton's JV and Bantam programs doing extremely well. And in Bantam action, again, marquee matchup, a couple of great franchises, 28-21 for the Cambridge Lions over the Niagara Spears. That is your score recap.
I think it should be noted that even with some of the younger talent, like the Bantam scores, they're still reaching the 40s, the 60s.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very talented league. People are scoring, and they're scoring often.
And for anybody who's been around junior football, it's like you go toss, dive, zone, throw a hook. They threw the ball! What was that?
You can't game plan for that, not junior.
But if you're putting up that many points, I don't think you're just pounding the rock every single play. And if you are, you're doing a damn good job of it. So there are some interesting scores going up. High scoring league, which it's what the people want.
They want to see the touchdowns.
Give the people what they want. The power rankings. I completely blanked and forgot to do power rankings last week. I brought them in week 2 and was just like, week 3. And I looked back on my sheet before doing this. I was like, what do I need to get done for this radio show today? And I was like, I introduced power rankings and then I just never did them again. So they are back. Don't worry. Power rankings, varsity. Ottawa Myers Riders, you are number 1 in the power rankings. Cambridge Lions and the Essex Ravens. That is the matchup that is coming this week that I mentioned in the opening. That'll be a very interesting one. Essex lost to Niagara early in the season. Since then, they've been dominant. So they are not undefeated, but they are still extremely powerful. And also, Myers Riders, worth mentioning, 192 points for, 35 points against is your tally going into week 5 as we have crossed the open. Ooh,
that's nice. That's some great background music. All right.
That caught me off guard. Perfect drop too, right at the post. The JV power rankings: Cumberland Panthers number 1, Mississauga Warriors number 2, Cambridge Lions number 3. 188 points for the Cumberland Panthers, 32 points against. Again, interesting.
That's
interesting.
Awesome.
Bantam number 1, Essex Ravens. Number 2, Brampton Bulldogs. Number 3, Cumberland Panthers. And I also noticed Cumberland. They're not undefeated. They lost in week 1 to the Metro Toronto Wildcats, who are also 3-1 themselves, who sit 3rd and 4th respectively in the Bantam OVFL rankings, regardless of Adams or Wedgett's conference. In the 3 weeks since they lost to the Metro Toronto Wildcats 20-14, the Cumberland defense has allowed 12 points in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Very, very impressive. All right, now it is time for everyone's favorite stupid segment. We're going streaking. It's the teams that are left that are undefeated. The varsity side, it is Ottawa Myers and Cambridge Lions. You are the only undefeateds left, as Niagara has now lost, and Essex lost to Niagara in week 1. Junior varsity, the Cumberland Panthers, Mississauga Warriors, Cambridge Lions, Toronto Thunder, and Ottawa Myers Riders. You are all still undefeated, which I think I need to look up how many teams are winless as well. If you think about it, if there's that many teams that are going undefeated in the JV rankings, I have a bad feeling there might be a bunch of winless. Oh dear, yeah.
Oh no.
That's okay. There's just Metro Toronto, Sioux Sabercats, Markham Raiders, Halton Cowboys, and Oshawa Hawkeyes, I believe, are winless here. But that's...
Hey, you can come back from this,
yeah.
All right? You've heard our horror stories before in the OVFL.
Yeah.
We are testament to that.
And we'll get to it that again in a little bit as well. And in Bantam play, Essex Ravens, Brampton Bulldogs, you're ranked number 1 and number 2 in my power rankings for the Bantam side, and you're also doing an excellent job. Now, it is time for the Like a Rock segment. It is the Tom's favorite segment. He hasn't been here for it yet. I know he's pretty excited about it.
I am so excited.
This week, the Like a Rock, the Like a Lock, LifeLock. This is the LifeLock Lineman of the Week. No, that's not. The Like a Rock Lineman of the Week. All of the Essex Ravens varsity offensive linemen. Does it break the rules of the award? Yes! Do I care? No! Jacob Benson, Brandon Martins, Lucas Moore, Devin Desjardins, might be Desjardins, not sure, and Drew Desjarlais? I don't know. I asked if they were brothers when I saw the names. And full disclosure, Eli Farah, I messaged him to get their names because he's their boy who runs the ball behind them. So that is your OVFL Live Like a Rock Lineman of the Week. All 5 of them. Eli Farah last week, 33 carries, 217 yards, 7 touchdowns. Set the OVFL record, as we mentioned in episode 3. Eli Farah this past week, 2 days ago, 24 carries, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns. So on less carries, he had more yards. He had 9 less carries, and had 10 more yards. Didn't have 7 touchdowns again, but he had 3. Team rushing statistics for the Essex Ravens through week 4. 172 carries, 1,224 yards, 7.1 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns.
That is unbelievable. And, it's appropriate that an entire offensive line gets recognized for this because you can't just have one outstanding offensive lineman.
Yeah.
No matter how good your one guy is, if your entire group doesn't work like that, then you don't have a good O-line. So
unless you're Tony Mandrich and you go on the cover of Sports Illustrated and then you get busted for being on steroids. Look it up. The Incredible Hulk / The Incredible Bulk.
The Incredible Bulk.
Yes. Look that up. That is your sports history for the day to go use the Google machine. The Wall of Fame that we've instituted. Were you here for the Wall of Fame?
I was not.
You were not? Okay. I actually don't have the pictures up right now, but on the podcast version, we will show you pictures of, in the opening couple of weeks, we had Andre Dury, and also, I forget the first one we had on. This week it is Daryl Townsend, former Essex Ravens running back from the early 2000s, now a Montreal Alouettes defensive back. He's actually in the OVFL Hall of Fame, which is kind of compared to the Wall of Fame isn't as important.
Well, hey, the OVFL Hall of Fame is trying to get up there.
That's true.
But you don't just get to the prestigiousness of the Wall of Fame that quickly.
Yeah. Here's the thing about the Wall of Fame. It might not be as special to you in your mind, but I pick whatever picture I want of you off the internet and I print it out and stick it on a wall.
That's something to be either very happy about or very scared for.
I found a pretty good picture about Daryl Townsend. It's all good. He was dominant in the preseason game that I watched against the Hamilton Tiger Cats for Montreal, playing defensive back. Still owns the most yards in a season at 1,768 for the Essex Ravens when he played in the OVFL. He holds that single-season rushing record, which he talked about when he went into the OVFL Hall of Fame a couple of weeks ago, and also has the most yards in a game, 384.
Wow. Holy.
I don't even know how you get 384 yards in a game, but apparently
never passed the ball ever.
Apparently Daryl Townsend did. Eli Farah is still not on pace to break Townsend's record. To put it in perspective, the incredible season he's having behind that, the Like a Rock Lineman of the Week in Essex. Right now, Eli Farah is at 768 yards halfway through the season, so he's about 150 yards off from the pace of Daryl Townsend, and it's difficult to stay healthy that entire time too, and get ready for the playoffs and. So it is an incredible record. He goes into the Wall of Fame, and that is my kind of rundown of the Wall of Fame. The other thing I actually wanted to mention, I might as well pull it up here while I have it. I interviewed Brian Bulkey after the game. It was one of the clips I wanted to play earlier. Just wanted to throw this out about Brian talking with him after the game about some of the unique aspects of the Canadian game, getting used to his teammates. And we're talking about Essex so much here, we might as well just play a clip from Brian Bulkey, who was a fantastic Essex Raven, went to the Stanford Cardinal of the NCAA, and is now playing for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. When was the last time you played a game in front of this small of a crowd for a professional/Stanford game?
I don't.
Was it Essex that was the last time
you
you
know
played?
The Essex Ravens, I think, had about 4,000 or 5,000 people at a playoff game.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day, back in Essex, at Essex High School. And it was spectacular. We may even actually play in the Ironman now that I think about it. So talk about coincidence.
Yeah.
But, that's pretty cool.
That is awesome. And obviously being back here, I've been asking some of the American guys about some of the quirks of the Canadian game that maybe they had heard about, some of the rookie Americans coming up that they didn't really expect. You're pretty used to the Canadian quirks, and what do you think of the American guys coming in and trying to get acquainted to this team, used to it, fit into a system, find their role, and try to make this team?
Yeah, no, it's a big question. I think we've done a really good job at kind of educating them day one of camp so that there's no surprises. But I'll be honest, when they're throwing out field goals, I was screaming, "Hey, Americans, make sure you cover!" And almost trying to call out numbers to make sure that they know when that ball's kicked, that they get off to the sidelines and start running, or else, you don't want that big awesome return coming at you.
And last thing I'll get you out in here, Eli Farah. Are you familiar with the name?
No, I'm not.
No? Essex Ravens running back, had 7 touchdowns last week.
Oh my God, I heard, Glenn Mills told me.
Yeah, he broke Andre Dury's record of 6 of Mississauga in 2001, I believe. He won our OVFL Live Player of the Week last week. Would you like to have a guy like Eli Farah on your team in the future?
I would love to have any guy that breaks a Toronto Argo record on my team at any time.
Excellent answer. Thanks for joining me, Brian.
Cheers. Have a great one.
That's Brian Bulkey, class act from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I thought it was hilarious when he mentioned screaming out to the field, to the Americans on the field goal, "Americans, cover! Don't forget to cover!" Because I heard him during the game, and this is another part of the unique small setting at McMaster compared to a CFL setting, is I'm in the very top, up in the press box there watching the game, and you can hear Bulkey screaming and echoing off of the residences and around McMaster because A, his voice is so large, and B, the field is not as large as a normal stadium, obviously. So it was interesting to talk to him after the game. It was pretty fun. All right, now I wanted to go into a new little bit I wanted to do called Winners and Losers. There's some serious winners, as we've mentioned in the score recap. There's also a couple of losers. Now, these aren't necessarily scores. These aren't teams. These are just things that I notice in and around the OVFL or in and around football that I think deserve attention. And I don't have any cool music for them. I'm sorry. Or maybe we could just play Family Feud music.
I like it.
Yeah, well, I feel like it kind of offsets the serious mood of the segment, but that's okay. We aren't that serious anyways.
We're never that serious.
No. All right. Number one that I want to play here is winners and losers. Winner, the Gatorade marketing staff. Do you know why a Gatorade marketing staff would be a winner right now, Tom?
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you right now because Etobicoke's kickoff team, when I saw them play against Hamilton a couple of weeks ago, they were singing this every single time that they were coming out for their kickoff duties. That was...
Wow, that's cool.
Isn't that cool? The Gatorade marketing staff have made that song so memorable. And to be fair, I looked up the origin of it because I thought, obviously, this is probably an Army thing. It is. It's just an Army drumline kind of where they're working out or they're going from place to place, and they obviously are in their lines and they're running around singing that. And it's been picked up by kids in the OVFL who are putting in hard work, running down, covering on special teams, and they sang it every single time that they were on the field, which unfortunately for Hamilton was a lot because they were putting up a lot of points on them. But I thought that was interesting to see. So they're our first winner ever in the winners and losers. Loser, coaches airing it out late in games when you're up big or going for 2-point conversions when you're up big. It's a no-no. Nobody likes to see it. And unfortunately, I have seen it so far this year. I think coaches need to remember it's about the kids. It's not about
Absolutely.
It's not about what you're trying to do. And as much as this show is happy and awesome and we love talking about the OVFL and there's so many great aspects of it, there's sometimes you got to kind of pull yourself back and remember why we're doing all of this.
Absolutely.
And the thing that kind of gets me sometimes when I'm at games is seeing kids that are on teams that are losing a lot, and they see a team going for 2, trying to run up the score on them, and the coaches will defend it and say, no, we're just trying to, get ourselves playoff seeding. And you can say it's like a military arms race, and somebody goes for 2 on a team that's really good, and you hear about it, so you're like, well, we gotta start going for 2 every time because we don't want to fall behind in the points race. It's like they can push each other, and all of a sudden it turns into the Cold War, and then there's a bunch of politics stuff involved. And we don't like to get into politics. We mentioned that before.
Never like to get into Cold Wars either.
Yeah, or hot wars for that matter.
No.
But yeah, so coaches that are out there, if you're up big, just be honest with the kids that you're playing against. I was on the worst team imaginable. I felt that pain. I know what it's like. Don't do it.
I was on the Wentworth Panthers. I think collectively in my 4 or 5 years playing there, I had about maybe 10 wins in 4 or 5 seasons. So I know what it is to get beaten and run up the score on, and it sucks for everyone involved. So just don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. One more loser we have. I'm going to pick like 2 winners, 2 losers each week. Loser, parents that randomly scream things.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're a loser specifically, but stop. I've been to a couple of games, unfortunately, where there's parents that are screaming like directly at kids. And again, this goes back to the exact same thing as the coaches. You don't really need to have that where you're screaming at kids they know what they're doing wrong. They have coaches. That's what you pay the coaches to be there, or you pay the organization to hire the coaches to be there to teach your kids how to do things correctly. You don't need to jump on them when they're on the field. The other thing that really frustrates me is parents that scream things in the middle of a play or just scream generic things. Like, I get it. You love your kids. You want the best for them. You want to help them any way you can, and you might feel like you need to reach out when they're on the field. But I can confidently tell you that when your kid is on the field playing free safety and he's 35 yards from where the ball is, and the ball is snapped, and then out of the stands you hear, "Get the quarterback!" It doesn't help your kid. Not one bit. My favorites that I pulled out from the last couple of weeks I wanted to mention. The first one's "Get the quarterback." The second one is "Hit him!" Hit him's a classic.
I heard that all throughout my entire career.
Yeah, it could be between plays. And they're on the sideline, referee blows it in, 3-minute warning or something, you just hear, "Hit him!" And it's like, you're not helping anything. And my other favorite one, for parents that maybe have never played quarterback before, you'll hear screamed halfway through. It could even be a run play sometimes. You just hear, "Throw the ball! Throw the ball!"
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah.
I always heard that every single time.
God damn it, Marshall, throw the ball!
As soon as he gets to snap, going for a pitch, throw it!
And they start screaming, that's my little rant on parents that like to scream out of the stands. Support your kids. Be positive. It's awesome.
Like, I understand hometown advantage, home field advantage, but it goes to a certain point. You know, like when I was playing in one of my Wentworth games, there were parents who actually brought megaphones and were yelling like that.
That's awesome.
So it was not only just like a generic thing. It was like, "Hey, Timmy, throw it!"
Rips into people like that. I had a guy at Waterloo on a megaphone in 2011. There was a student, and he was mean.
We had one at Guelph actually this past year.
Oh, really?
He was very selective.
I've learned to block it out pretty well, but in 2011, I was just a raw kid just trying to make my way in the old OUA, and this guy was in the stands. We had a big pass completed for 60 yards or so, and then we had our running back, Wayne Moore, pounded in, and he got in the end zone, and I kind of like natural instinct, typical me, like over emotion. I turn around after he gets in the end zone, boom, fist pump, fired up, Tiger Woods in his prime. And then I hear out of the stands, Marshall, you don't need to celebrate. You didn't do anything. Stop that. You're useless. Just coming out of the stands at me.
Yeah, that's pretty demoralizing.
Walking back to the sideline, just, hey, we scored, man. I don't really care. So those are the losers for the week. I hate to be negative, but sometimes you got to reel it in. Be real with the people. Winner. Any player on a winless team that continues to bust your backside despite the result. Your effort, enthusiasm, and focus will be rewarded. It might not be this year, but one day you'll look back at it and thank yourself for not giving up. I think you would agree with that. Played on some rough teams.
An ultimate winning attitude, absolutely. Yeah. And like, there's a lot of times where you and I have both struggled in the OVFL, and guys have just come up to you and been like, "Hey, you know, we got to keep going, got to keep chugging."
Yeah.
Even if it's not for this season, but just to be as a player, as a person, you got to keep going.
Yeah, and I think as a person, that's what you really look at. Coach Potasic here at McMaster, he always talks about surrounding yourself with the best people possible. Might not be the best players and all of that. He recruits people, not athletes.
Yes.
And if the people happen to be fantastic athletes, we're better off for it as a team. But it'll make you a better person to just keep working and keep pushing and keep singing the Gatorade song every time that you're out there. Have fun. Enjoy it. It's amateur sport. It's what we're here for. So you are a winner in my mind to be there. Wanted to go back for a second. At OVFL Live, we like to turn a negative into a positive. So we have put together a compilation of some of the best fan screaming calls. Like I talked about, these aren't throw the football or hit him. These are golf fans, as the U.S. Open was yesterday, after tee shots, and some of the interesting things that get shouted out of the stands. So I want to put those together for you.
He's got a lie he can spin the ball from. Let's see if he can, 105. See if he can gather his nerves.
Yeah, player!
Tiger shooting a 2/74 Thursday. Fans looking to get him going. Hey, Tiger, light the candle! Light the candle!
That is lower and lower, but can't find the fairway.
That's my favorite one.
This one would be out of left field, trying to become only the 7th player to breathe that rarefied air of 3 U.S. Open championship wins to 6. And Jim Furyk on the tee. Less than
Mashed potatoes is the classic one. My personal favorite is when you hear balls. The guy just randomly screams it out of the back. Anyways, that's the positive side of screaming. Parents that are yelling at kids at the field to throw the ball on a running play when the ball carrier has already been tackled. Maybe go to the Canadian Open and just get your aggression and your screaming out there. Also, the first person that I hear at the Canadian Open that screams OVFL Live after a tee shot, $20.
Yep.
Ring it up. and a cookie from Dad's if they ever talk to us for sponsoring the podcast.
You know, why can't we have some random generic, well, not generic, but some random screaming at an OVFL game? Like somebody's about to run the ball and you just hear, cleats! Cleats!
Yeah, I think that needs to be a part of, maybe that's what the parents should do that are frustrated with their kids and just like screaming at random things. Just yell like, blueberries! Just anything you want that gets you involved in the game.
You are having oranges at halftime!
Watermelons. Oh, man. Watermelons at halftime. Oh, them was the days.
Them was the days.
All right, we're going to head to a quick song break before we bring back the OVFL Live Player of the Week. This is Hometown Glory by Luke Taves. Is that how you say it? Like Jonathan Taves?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it's spelled the same. I want to make sure. This is actually a song that you can see on Tom's radio show. Tom, tell us a little bit about the Canadian Rush.
Canadian Rush every Friday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. during your early morning jog to work.
Yep.
I play only Canadian music and a lot of Canadian talent. Mainly I've been focusing on Burlington talent. Luke Taves, actually, I work with him at Pioneer Pools.
Wow, really?
He is a fan.
That's a really good song. I didn't know that. I listened to it already.
He's a fantastic artist. He's an artist and producer. He's actually open for Down with Webster, J. Cole,
Awesome.
USS. So there's a lot of talent there, and I like to play that kind of thing and just get their sound out there so that other people can appreciate it as much as I do.
Absolutely. Week 1, we talked about we're artists on the field, artists off the field. We all have a little bit of a bond like that. We're all creative and we enjoy each other's work. Football players love music, and typically musicians love to show up at sporting events. So it's kind of interesting. Have you ever heard of Like a Lion?
Yes.
Have you?
Yes.
Who's Like a Lion?
I don't know anything about it, but I've heard Like a Lion before.
Yeah, you have. They're a pretty famous band. They came out of Kingston, Ontario. They used to have a tall, lanky loser named Marshall Ferguson as the drummer.
That's why I've heard of it.
Oh, right, yeah. And our money, where did our money come from for our recording contract? Oh, right, we disbanded. Right. Just wanted to make sure. All right, yeah, this is, what song do we got here? Sorry. Hometown Glory by Luke Taze. Enjoy, everybody.
Best friends, back to back, they'd have to the bitter end, and they defend since age 10, close, but never that close again. See, one from a broken home, daddy Rolling Stone never eased up on Johnny. Probably never knew like Luke what it's like to not get beat up on. Bruises, contusions, the booze make Johnny that do this, his temper, he lose it. Accuse Johnny of being a nuisance. The teachers think Johnny's stupid, a loser, he's feeling useless. The truth is Luke is like you gotta get through this life if you can't be this ruthless. 14, started smoking weed, started selling cheese, turned absentee. Good student, he can never be. Graduate that they can just not see, but graduated to OZs and self-medicated on rollies and aggravating the police. Homie, this life can be so lonely. But his mama don't wanna see her baby beat. Packed his bags, no love at home, but found no love in street. What's good for you is not good for me. See, Luke's gotta keep the peace, and just like that, back turned, but looking back, learned just needed a friend to be. In my hometown, I see those memories we made. I see those chances that we take, and I say, in my hometown, we be growing up one day. If I could go back, I would say, in my hometown, I see those promises we break. I see those losses that we take, and I say, in my hometown, I wish those memories would fade. If I could go back to those days. Now rewind the time to 09. Johnny's pictures posted, plastered prior to prime time. The headline sign, the drive was definitely dope crime. Definitely lost lives left resonant on chalk lines. Concrete angel, what's the concrete angle? A kid's lives in shambles, but all they see is an animal with a blade in check. He going to man respect and crept into that suburban home to collect past debt and last breath. With blood on his hands and tears swelled in his eyes. He's 20 years young, now staring at 20 to life. But see, back when he was struggling, no one bothered to try. Hindsight is 20/20, but no one batted an eye. See, it's two friends, two different paths who haven't spoke since. And the truth is, the situation's a catch-22 since. If I hadn't changed lanes, it would've ended the same. Or maybe because I parted ways, I'm partly to blame. In my hometown, I see those memories we made. I see those chances that we take, and I say, in my hometown, we be growing up one day. If I could go back, I would say, in my hometown, I see those promises we break. I see those losses that we take, and I say, in my hometown, I wish those memories would fade. If I could go back to those days. I got this guilt built up inside my head. Of the things I could, of the things I should have said. I said, I got this guilt built up inside my head. Of the things I could, of the things I should have said. I said, I got this guilt built up inside my head. Of the things I could, of the things I should have said. I got this guilt built up inside my head. Of the things I could, of the things I should have said. Man, hold up. Man, hold up.
Welcome back inside OVFL Live, everyone. That was Hometown Glory by Luke Taze, the estranged brother of Jonathan Taze of the Chicago Blackhawks.
The talent's all there. I don't. It's uncanny.
That's sweet. I am. Hopefully, I'll pop in a couple of times on Tom's show here on CFMU 93.3 in Hamilton.
Always welcome.
Yeah, because that's an awesome concept for a show, and like you said, there's a lot of people that deserve attention.
One more piece of shameless promotion.
Yes.
At Canadian 93.3.
Nice.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Shameless promotion.
Canadian 93.3?
Canadian
That's a pretty good handle.
Right?
Yeah. It's better than like cool guy _786.
Well, that's my
That's your
Twitter
personal
handle.
account? Okay, good. Speaking of people that deserve attention, I am joined right now by Mr. James Roberts of the Cambridge Lions. James, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. This is James is our OVFL Live Player of the Week, and I'm very excited to have you on because you've been putting some nice wins together, my friend, and I've known you for a couple of years now, working through camps and things. You're rated second in the OVFL in passing halfway through the regular season, 74 completions on 111 attempts, over 1,000 yards already. How does that feel, James?
It feels good. I'm not a huge stats guy, so I don't really look into that much. I'm glad about the 4-0 part. That's the best part.
Yeah, I was about to say, you beat me to the punch here. 1,061 yards, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, sorry. Last week you were 18 for 25 for 175 and 1 touchdown, but the most important stat, you have your Cambridge Lions at 4-0 going into an important game this weekend down at Windsor against Essex there, don't you?
Yeah, it's a big one. It's for first place, and we're looking to try and take down the top team in the league pretty much.
Yeah, they obviously have that powerful rushing attack, and the reason I wanted to have you on is because there are some other guys in this league who are putting up absolutely ridiculous stats, but I'm the same as you. I can go 12 for 15 and feel like I had the best game ever. You don't have to have 46 attempts and 37 completions for 420 yards in order to feel like you've had a good afternoon. Are you the same kind of guy that you focus on just kind of getting the W every single week, and as long as you feel like you've done your part, that's kind of the role you want to play on your team?
I'm exactly the same. The only stat I care about is the win-loss column and the picks. As long as the picks are low and the turnovers are low, I'm putting our team in a good chance to win, and that's what matters, really. I don't really care how good it looks on the stat sheet or how cool it looks in the columns of completions and such like that. But if I'm doing the right things, listen to my coach, putting our team in the right position to win, then I'm happy.
I have to be honest with you, James. When I played in the OVFL, I played 1 year. I was only in JV. I threw 20 interceptions in one season. I brought it up a couple of times on this show. When was the last time you did 20 of anything in a row that was bad?
20 of anything in a row? That's a tough question. Probably.
It wasn't interceptions, was it?
No, probably incompletions, maybe.
Incompletions. There you go.
That's
20 in a row.
Possible.
I don't think you've ever thrown 20 in a row, James. I've seen you play.
Maybe not in a row. Maybe two sets of 10, maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's just like working out in the gym. By the way,
there you go.
When I messaged you, you said you were hitting the gym. What did you do today?
I did some lower body lift. Yeah, so I'm on that golf weight training program. So I'm already on that now, and that's I'm headed next year. So
nice. So you are becoming a Griffin come August this year, are you?
I am. Yes, sir. Excellent.
Where did you play your high school ball out of?
Jacob Hesper.
Jacob Hesper. Nice. And that is the home field for the Cambridge Lions as well?
It is. It hosts a whole lot of things now. It's the home basketball courts for a lot of the travel teams, home track field for a lot of, I think, Officer West, I think it was.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's a pretty crazy facility we got here.
That's fantastic. Tom, you wanted to ask our OVFL Live Player of the Week about maybe some of his hoggies.
How do you feel about your offensive line? I know quarterbacks are normally, Marsh is pretty good about it, but you now have a wide listener base to really thank your offensive line.
Yeah, I'm different when it comes to offensive line. A lot of guys, O-line will apologize to quarterbacks when they get hit, or they get sacked, or this and that. I kind of look at it a different way. I'm looking at it the way as these 5 guys come in and for 60 plays a game, they get their heads hit for me. So if I get hit, I don't care, 10, 15 times, that's fine with me. It's all good. It's bound to happen. These guys are putting in their effort just to save me, let alone, try and get their own glory, right? So they're unappreciated always, and I always make a point to give them a big hug after every drive we score, because it's those guys that make the clock work kind of thing.
On a scale of 0 to disgusting, how sweaty are they when you hug them after a touchdown drive?
Atrocious. It's really gross. And the worst part is if you run one in, they hug you really hard, and then it's gross, but it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. It is very much worth it. James, all the best heading into Essex this weekend. We will be watching very closely and wishing you all the best. You are the OVFL Live Player of the Week for Week 4, halfway through the season, and we thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. That was Mr. James Roberts of the Cambridge Lions, who plays extremely well. I've seen him play a couple of times, and he's got a real nice game to him. He'll be a big asset to Guelph moving forward, and I expect when I'm old and gray, which isn't too far off, he will be fun for me to watch when he's in his kind of senior years.
I hope he gets all the best of luck in the world, except when he plays Mac.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see him this year. That's the other fun part of doing this radio show is I still play in the OUA. So there's all these kids that are doing unbelievable things, and I'm like, hey, all the best and have a fantastic fall. And then I'm like, wait, I have to play you. And creates an interesting dynamic. But it is, I do wish the best for those guys. It is fun to see them play well. The next little thing I wanted to mention, it's the end of June, and I think we're all kind of familiar with this song. And this isn't a sob story song or reaching out to the teams that might not have wins thus far in the OVFL season. This is the graduation song by none other than... Do you know, Tom?
Getting the drum roll ready.
Vitamin C.
Boom.
Part of my childhood. It still gets played all over the place at graduations. I expect it's still a part of the Ontario graduation circuit. I would like for any OVFL players, obviously varsity, like James, who are leaving high school, heading off to university, Eli Farah as well as going to Laurier, fantastic running back at Essex we've spoken to. If you guys are going to grads, send us your funniest, your weirdest, whatever you want. I want pictures of you in your grad stuff. It can be with a football, it can be with your date. I just think it would be really neat because outside of football, there's a lot of stuff going on for these players, and it would be nice to get a fun insight into these guys and their graduation pictures and setup. And if anybody's wearing a powder blue suit, if you don't send me a pic, you have any idea how mad I'm going to be? Like the suits that some of these guys wear, I'd like to see some of the offensive linemen in some of their crazy tuxes. And
hey, it's a lot of fabric to get together. All right, it's tough. So
you got to cut it up properly and whatnot. But seriously, it would be great. You can send it to @OVFL_live on Twitter. Send us the pictures. If you're running a Twitter handle for a team, maybe guilt your players into sending you the pictures, and you can send them through the team Twitter handles. I know the Cambridge Lions were very active on Twitter over the weekend, updating some scores from their games, and there's some other teams. Myers is great on Twitter. London Junior Mustangs do some great work. So if you want to send us your players' pictures in their graduation stuff, it's the end of June, moving on to the next stage of their life, heading into university or college or working, whatever they're doing. It would be great to get some insight into that. So I thought I would bring that up and get a couple of pictures, hopefully, that will be sent into us. I'm just going to let this roll, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of a nice background song.
Like we said before, we're doing this for the greatness of the OVFL, and we're doing this for the kids, you know, so we want you to have fun with this.
Yeah.
You know, send us your wackiest photos, send us whatever you want. We're here to support you, and we're here to have some fun.
Absolutely. What is your favorite memory of your graduation, Tom?
Well, my graduation
doesn't have to be the craziest story. I can tell you mine first if you want to hear, so you can make up your mind. My graduation, Frontenac Secondary School in Kingston. It was down. We're obviously on the lake, on Lake Ontario there, at the east end of the lake, and we went from our graduation ceremony. There was about 20 of us who were very, very close friends. We turned on this song and we just cried. No, I'm joking. No, we went down to this little outcropping. There's these rocks that are kind of hidden through some brush that are down near the old DuPont plant in Kingston, and we just sat on the rocks and hung out and listened to the water hit and just talked about high school. And it was an awesome time. Sat with some of my best friends from high school, and we just kind of hung out and enjoyed the times that you think about now. So that was, for me, that's the time that I look back on. As now we have the violins picking up for the dramatic Tom story.
Well, I can remember one time where it's our half of our graduation class probably, and we're all lined up, and we're at one of our friends' houses, and she's right on the water, and it's beautiful and everything. And one person can't really get the camera going, and then all of a sudden you hear, "Light the candle!" No. Okay, back to my serious story. No, just being all dressed up and being out with all my friends and having that big party and big celebration with everybody and the same kind of thing, reminiscing and everything. So that was definitely my favorite time. And
sweet.
Been through high school. When you're at graduation, you're like, wow, high school, everything was so significant, man. Looking back on it, you're like, well, maybe when I dated Susie, what's her name, it wasn't really the end of the world.
Susie, what's her name?
Hey, it's
got over you pretty quick.
It's a Dutch last name, actually.
Also, I play this song once a night since Friday, because on Friday I graduated.
Oh, wow.
I'm a big boy now. I had a graduation and my 23rd birthday within 3 days.
Wow.
Real life just went like this. Smash you in the face. Right across. So yeah, send us in those pictures at the OVFL Live Twitter account. We'd love to have them. And that should be some fun that we can have together on Twitter, because that's what it's all about. I want to do a celebrity birthdays segment. I had an idea to bring that up. Today's celebrity birthdays for June 16th, 2014. Joking. June 16th in general. Tupac Shakur?
I
think
Shakur?
Tupac. It's Pac's birthday. Throw it up for
Congratulations, Tupac, wherever you're listening from.
Oh, no, man. Actually, he's alive. He's definitely alive.
Yeah. And he's an avid fan of the show.
But if you're not, I'm sorry. Phil Mickelson's birthday is also today, and also a bit of an unhappy birthday for Mr. Mick Rash. Mr. Rick Nash.
Rick Nash.
Rick Nash of the New York Rangers as well. It is his birthday, and so that is those are celebrity birthdays for today. There's a bunch more. There's some fringe people, I think we'll say, but I only want to bring up the celebrity ones just to give you some context of if your birthday's today, boom, you listen to OVFL Live, now you know whose celebrity birthdays are your day.
Boom.
Next thing I wanted to get to, this is our, as you probably figured out by now, our stupid last 10-minute segment where we bring up anything we really want. World Cup fever. You got it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I work in the restaurant bar industry. I won't say where. Boston Pizza. And the first game of the tournament was insane. It's crazy how people reach out and just embrace soccer. In like, I'm guilty. I don't care about soccer that much.
Nope.
As much as I want to. I just can't get fired up about it because people are flopping left and right, and it's very hard for me to enjoy. But World Cup time comes, and I just love it.
Absolutely. I mean, I was the same way. Didn't really the only soccer I really saw was in league matches, and there was a lot of flopping there and everything. So one of my best friends actually had a big soccer game, and I went there, and it was a championship game, and I see him go up. He's about maybe 6 foot kind of thing. Goes up against a guy who's 6'5". They both go for a header, and my buddy headbutts the guy in the back of the head.
Oh.
Goes down, gets the ball, keeps going. I'm like, this is awesome! And then I yell, balls!
This is a bit of a FIFA rant from John Oliver on HBO. And I won't play the whole thing. I'll link it up from our Twitter account at OVFL_live. It's 13 minutes long. It's incredibly well written, and this is just kind of a funny bit to open it. I'll play about 30 seconds of it here for you.
I would like to talk to you about the sausage principle. The theory that says if you love something, never find out how it was made. Well, tonight, I would like to show you my sausage. Wait. This is my sausage.
The 2014 FIFA World Cup.
Oh my God! Okay, the World Cup starts this week, and I am both excited and extremely conflicted about it. Now, I know, in America, soccer is something you pick your 10-year-old daughter up from. But for me and everyone else on Earth, it's a little more important.
Soccer had become Brazil's religion. In Colombia, soccer was a religion.
Was the clip from John Oliver. It's very interesting. I wish I could play more of it for you, but if you want to see it, we'll link it up from the Twitter account. The last couple of things I wanted to get to, we have about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left here. Skydome opened 25 years ago as of June 3rd.
Wow.
1989. I found a video, when I realized that it was 25 years before, I found a video of the Skydome intro. They had like this huge celebration, which I didn't know about, down at Skydome. The place was filled to the absolute top of the 500s. And there was this awesome stage out in the middle. Alan Thicke and Andrea Martin came out and sang this song, and there was an opening here as well. I'll play a little clip of it quickly before we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Alan Thicke and Miss Andrea Martin.
The world's largest retractable ceiling, multi-purpose, 8-acre, 30-story high dome, Sky Dome. But instead of waxing lyrical about this engineering miracle,
why not get right to the point?
They basically sound like Fred Armisen and Kristen Wiig when they used to come on Saturday Night Live and they're in the vest and they talk back and forth to each other and try and figure out what each other is saying. It sounds like they're making up the lyrics as they go. Last thing, in a big rush here, June 17th, 1994, 10-year anniversary of that day is tomorrow. On that day, O.J. Simpson, the original white Bronco before Peyton Manning, was in his little chase with the police. Arnold Palmer's last U.S. Open, the opening of the World Cup in the United States when they hosted, Oprah Winfrey opening the game at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. The Knicks and Rockets battled on that night for the NBA Finals championship because MJ decided that he liked baseball better. And there was, I believe, an earthquake somewhere. I'm not sure. There's a documentary, ESPN 30 for 30, called June 17, 1994. There's no commentary over it. It's literally just the clips that are raw, and they cut back and forth between all these storylines. It was an incredible day. Tomorrow is the 10-year anniversary. If you want to feel like you're something bigger than just yourself, then I suggest that you go out and watch that. It's on YouTube. Whoa. It is on YouTube. Thank you for joining us on OVFL Live. We're a minute and a half long because you're too much fun to talk to. Thanks so much for joining us. We will be back next week at the same time. Get us on Twitter at OVFL_live. Tom, you want to say goodbye?
Love doing this show. Love talking to everybody here. Please, if you ever want to talk to us, we're always on Twitter at myself at Tom_Sterling. Not very creative, but it's simple to remember. Please let us know. Tweet us anything you want. We're always willing to talk to fans.
Thanks so much for joining us.
And that will do it from St. Louis, where the score is inconclusive. Good night.
I don't know who you are. You could have come from another star and fooled me. I don't mind. You could be a refugee.